So I stated previously on these Chronicles, I only pulled my gun out on someone twice. And neither one of those times was it on some tough guy shit. It was on either some leave me alone shit or it's about to go down. And so in this particular case, it was about to go down. So once again, I was in West Virginia, greatest place on earth basically. And I'm dealing with somebody that I know, but we don't like each other. But our bosses decided to do business. And at the time, I was manufacturing body jewelry in a warehouse in Roanoke called Captain B Company. I worked for that company full time. My family and I lived there. And I would go around city to city, town to town, and I would sell body jewelry, and I would sell needles, and I would sell, the very beginning incarnations of like disposable tools, tattoo needles, piercing needles, aftercare products, all that shit. And they come to your shops now, you know what I'm talking about. They'll pull up, but it was just me and a motherfucking Ford Focus. But I had a bunch of jewelry. Anyway, I'd ride around doing that. So I'm at this place in West Virginia. I'm not going to say the name of the shop. And matter of fact, the fella I'm talking about is no longer with us. But he had been in Roanoke at one time. He still worked for the same organization, and we had never gotten along. There was, in Roanoke back in the 90s, man, there was politics about tattoo shops and tattoo territory, and it was stupid, man. Like, these guys from the shop wouldn't talk to the guys from the shop, and it was just it didn't make any fucking sense to me. And me and Andrew, like, once I started working at tattoo shops, whether it be for Mark Bell or Grizz or whoever, he and I never played that game. We never avoided one another just because we worked at different locations. It just didn't make any sense, and we've always been friends. But this guy had said some things about my dear friend, and he was just a motherfucker. He was just an asshole. And we saw him at a car bomb show one night, and things kind of escalated there. Anyway, my boss says, I talked to his boss. You're going to go to West Virginia, and you're going to sell him jewelry. And there's a certain amount that's already packaged that it's like, $3,200 worth of stuff. And then he wants to buy more once you get there. I was like, all right, fine. So I had a leather bag with like 2 big zip compartments and then pouches in the front and back, and I kept a 380 in one of the front pouches just on the outside. So if I put my bag and set it up here, top of that's unzipped, I can have access to it. And thank goodness I didn't really need it that much. So I'm sitting in the lobby of this tattoo shop, and the guy was like, yeah, come on back. So I go into the piercing station with him and his piercer, and I unload the stuff for them, start looking through it. He goes, okay, go ahead and take a seat in the lobby. We're going to go through the stuff and tell you what we want. And I was like, that ain't going to fucking happen. You out of your fucking mind? And he's like, okay, well, that is how it's going to fucking happen, because that's what I told the deal was. And if that's not the fucking deal, I was like, whoa, that's not the fucking deal. And I'm not fucking leaving this jewelry or any of this other shit. I said, I got a package. You want to pay for that? I can just leave. You don't got to look at none of this shit. He goes, we're going to look at all this shit while you wait in the lobby. And so I just sort of unzipped the thing to where the pouch flipped forward and the gun was just on display. And I was like, look, man, I can't part with this stuff. You know it, and I know it. I know you're trying to fuck with me and let your dick hang, but that ain't fucking happening today. So either, because they had shut the door on me at that point. When I said I wasn't leaving into the lobby, the piercer shut the door. So I was either like, we're either going to get it on, or I'm going to zip this back up, and we're going to go over this fucking jewelry. And this guy was a biker, and he was a motherfucker. And he just kind of laughed. And he was like, all right. Just want to see where he was at. And I was like, I'm right motherfucking here, and so is the burner. And he bought about another $1,800 worth of stuff. One of those guys at the shop tailed me when I left town. They were trying to figure out if I was going to go to other local shops, which I did. And that was that.